Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just make the executive decision that this is credits, which means Ys 3, the Oath from Felghana, has been conquered. And, you know, I gotta say, the game has been great. Has been absolutely fantastic. I think when I first went into this Ys franchise playthrough, started with Ys Origin, I wasn't quite sure if I would like it. And it turns out I really liked Ys Origin. The combat and the story and the characters were all very engaging, and had a lot of fun with it. And Ys the Oath in Felghana kind of feels like a sequel, not necessarily in the sequel of like bigger and better, but more of the same. And in this specific case for me, that's what I wanted. I wanted either more of the same or more of the same plus improvements. And I'm just really, really happy that I got to revisit this gameplay. This gameplay might not be in the next game that I play, but Ys Origin set me on a path, and I'm glad that I got to return to this path at least one more time. Hopefully it happens again, but Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles did something different, and while I did like that, I was looking for this gameplay and I got it and I'm happy. So my overall thoughts are essentially this game is great, and I'm extremely happy of what I got to experience with it. Let me see. Story-wise, was it satisfying? I'm going to say yes, asterisk. And the reason I say this is because while the story was fine, while the characters were fine, there's there's something that doesn't quite work for me personally. And silent protagonist is basically the crux of all this, but it's basically the story doesn't really involve Adol at all. And I know that's kind of weird to say because, you know, he's the one going around saving the world, but if you think about it, we didn't actually save the world. Esther did. We were just kind of like bystanders, I guess, that happened to be in the right place at the right time, getting the right items at the right time, only to hand them over to the bad guys so that the bad guys could do what they were planning all along, so that we could put in some groundwork and then get upstaged by another character. And so that in of itself is kind of disappointing. But I'll get to that in a second. Did it feel complete? It did feel complete. It started and it ended. And I'm happy with the start and I'm happy with the end. How was the pacing? I think the pacing was actually pretty excellent. I don't think there were any snags. It was go here, go here, go here, go here. So, well, there was that one moment where we met like Genos' spirit or something like that, and he told us that we can go to the mountains, but we actually had to go to town first. But that doesn't really count. And then I get to this point. Some thoughts on the story. I like the story buildup. I like that Chester's disappearance was really nice because it worked in the sense of, well, I just have here Chester's disappearance only to work with the villain, only to have a tragic story of defeating the villain, only to be the villain himself. That didn't make any sense when I was reading it, but as I read it aloud, it made a little bit more sense. So essentially, Chester disappears, and then we end up meeting him, and when we find out that he's actually working with the bad guys, and the bad guys are responsible for this tragic story that he has, and Chester is using this tragic story as fuel to get revenge on said bad guys he's working for. Actually, really, really nice story. And it kind of gets into my next point of cliches aren't bad. Cliches are totally fine. However, imagine this story told from a different perspective. All right. So just bear with me here. Okay. As Chester, you wake up with very little memory of your past, but you were taken under the wing by a man in town and were trained to defend yourself. Defend yourself. One day, you want to build a better name for yourself and are employed by the castle to do various jobs and rise in the ranks. With every mission, you become more trusted, and with every mission, you slowly piece together the castle's plan. Then, on the mountaintop, you're confronted by a childhood friend who has been gone for many years. He doesn't condone your actions and prays you stop. You then reveal that not only has your actions been on purpose, but that you've had your memory the entire time. Okay, so like a little twist right there. You reveal your backstory and your quest for revenge and go execute it. You defeat your nemesis, confront your inner demons, and now you, your sister, and the country live in peace. Okay, so in that scenario, you're playing as Chester. And now you're more engaged in the story. You're playing a character who's on a quest for revenge. And even though he's confronted with certain obstacles like friends, maybe his sister, and maybe just the thoughts of killing lots of innocent people only to basically kill one man, he's doing this to achieve peace for a greater good. And you might think that that's more of a downer story, or kind of playing the villain, but it's more engaging, I guess, from my perspective. So how about Elena? You have no memory of your past, but you're raised in a village. Your brother vanished some time ago, and as monster attacks rise, you want to learn to defend yourself. You go out into the world to hone your skills, help the townsfolk, and stumble upon treasures. However, one day you catch a glimpse of your brother, but only for a moment. Then, again sometime later, but this time, he confronts you. He's looking for the treasures, and because he's your brother, you give them to him. He takes you back to the castle and you assist him in his journey, seeing all the horrors he commits to achieve his goals. The more you watch, the more you can't take it. You confront him and try to stop him, but he attacks you and makes off. Now you track him down for the final showdown, where you know you must kill him, but you do everything in your power to save his life before that's necessary. Imagine if you're playing Elena. Now you're even more attached, because you think your brother's dead, and then you find he's alive, and then you start helping him, and then you realize that you're helping him do evil deeds, and then you try to save him. And whether you save him and he redeems himself, or you kill him and he regrets everything, it's a more engaging story than Adol. And then just something for Dogi. You return to your homeland after a long hiatus and found out your best friend has gone missing, or one of your best friends has gone missing. You decide to track him down, and in doing so, delve into ruins, finding evidence that he's been there. Eventually, you find him battling a dangerous beast, but he's badly wounded. You defeat the beast, recover the treasure, save his life, and you catch up on life. You give him the statue, and he goes evil on you. And it's up to you to knock some sense into him. Kept that one a little brief because, these are getting kind of long, but you kind of get the picture here. It's an extended way of saying basically that Adel in this story is not only the least interesting character that you could be, but he's the least exciting and the least engaging throughout the entire experience. It also feels like he's the one that requires the least writing, the least backstory, and of course the least amount of dialogue. I realize that Adel is, I guess the protagonist in these games. It would just been nice if it was Adel's friends or something to make this more attached to the character you're playing. That way that you can feel more attached to the characters that you're helping, attacking, or trying to save. I guess that's all that I'm going right there. And that's basically the crux of my thoughts on this game, is I like it a lot. I have very little issues with it. I even like the story, despite this, I'll call it a criticism, but it's more of just an observation, really, that the story could have been taken in a different direction, and it could have been much more impactful, much more meaningful, and overall could have explored themes that were central to the character you're playing rather than those around you. There's actually a really good storytelling phrase that is show, not tell. And this game is a very good example of telling. You're not really showing a lot of the interactions and the grief and things like that. There's plenty of that, of course. But imagine if you were in the moment for all of those moments. If you were playing that character. So that's essentially my thoughts. If the developer is watching, I'm happy with this game. I'm really, really excited for the next one. I have no idea what to expect. I don't think I've seen anything of it. I mentioned that I've seen like a couple bosses, maybe like a few dungeon rooms and things like that. But for the most part, this has been a completely blind playthrough. And everything from this point forward is just going to be great. Struggling to find the right words for that, but yeah. I think I have something else here in mechanics. And I didn't want to go past that screen, but whatever. I guess the very last thing that I'll talk about, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, as like hours ago, not earlier today, that I think the magic system could also use a little bit of diversity. Not in the sense of what the spells are achieving, so like damage, but a little bit more of like the systems in Ys 2 Chronicles Plus. I'd like to see a little bit more of a variety in the sense of that game, and so I'm really hoping that they do that. If they don't, it's fine. The gameplay is fine. It's nice and crisp and responsive. But I think that would help diversify the combat a little bit and add a little bit more diversity to the gameplay as well. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for me for Ys 3, The Oath in Felghana. It's a fun game. Like it a lot. I can't wait to play the next one. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. See you next time I see you. Peace.